Welcome back to another episode of That's a Yap. I'm with my best friend,
Liz.
And I'm Lou. And today we're going to be doing another spooky paranormal episode where we read really spooky stories that are just going to make us jitter in our sweaters.
In our sweaters?
In our sweaters.
Your
I was going to say in our boots, but I am not wearing boots. I'm wearing slippers.
It's true, you are. I have boots on.
That are going to make us...
Shiver me timbers.
Yes.
Oh, God.
All right. So hopefully you guys like spooky stories. I know we do.
Absolutely. I'll be listening to them all day long while I'm working.
Yeah.
Do you really? Scared. Yes. I will put on specific YouTube channels that like have the little robot voice, like, or AI robot voice that like reads them off to you.
Yes.
While I'm working, just to like have something to do instead of like scroll and get myself in trouble.
Does that not give you like anxiety while you're working to be reading on spooky stories?
It does sometimes, but I like feeling like that thriller feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but I like that. But if it gets too much, then I like switch to something else because it does scare me sometimes. Some of them are like, oh my God, I don't want to.
Make you start looking around. You're like,
yeah, definitely makes me jumpy though. Like if somebody walks up on me, I've definitely been like, ah.
You might are you like the murder mystery or?
I do it all.
Okay, yeah. I need to listen to more stuff while I'm working. I feel like that'd help me focus a little bit more. Maybe not the spooky stories because I'd be like, and what happens next? And what happens next? So this first one is my best friend's boyfriend turned out to be a murderer.
Uh-oh.
That's like...
Is your best friend still alive?
Oh, I don't know. So this isn't a very long story, and I will just jump right on into it. But before I jump right on into this story, go ahead and make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel so you can get all of our new juicy videos that we post every Thursday. You can also follow us on X, Reddit, TikTok, thank you.
Instagram.
If that's still up by now, because...
Yeah, as we're filming this, TikTok is still here, but sounds like Sister's going to be taken out by the time we get this episode posted.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's depressing. Yeah. What am I going to do?
I know it. Hopefully we'll move on to another app or we'll figure it out. We always figure it out. Yeah.
I don't want no lemonade.
Well, at least we have YouTube for now. All right, so let's jump into this story. My best friend's boyfriend turned out to be a murderer. When I was about 19 or 20, my very best friend in the world was dating this guy. He was really cute, funny, and sweet. I stayed with her at her apartment a lot, and he used to always come over and hang out. He lived with his great-grandmother, who was really super strict. Even though he was 18, she gave him a curfew, and if he was late, she would lock him out or call the law on him. So we always had to be home by at least like 10 p.m. Anyways, one night I was at our house and we were drinking and playing cards and stuff. He came running through the door at 9 p.m. saying he had gotten into a fight. We didn't think anything of it really because he wasn't exactly a golden boy, and it wasn't all that surprising. But after about 12 a.m. rolled around, we were all like, damn, your grandma is letting you stay out this late? He ended up telling us that she was asleep and had locked him out again. Again, we didn't think much of it. Happened all the time.
He killed his grandma.
Yeah, I think that's where this is going. Later on the next day, I ended up going home. My friend called me that night, crying her fucking eyes out, telling me to look on Jail Tracker. I got on there and looked, and underneath his mugshot, it said murder. I was literally shocked, like, WTF. Who the fuck did he murder? I was just there. Turns out when he came and busted through the door, he had just mangled his great-grandmother to death with a hammer. He sat there and drank with us, played cards with us, and acted like nothing had ever happened. After everyone had left, he ended up telling my friend what he had done. She acted like she was going to run off with him. She went in her room and acted like she was packing her bags up, snuck in the bathroom and called the police. It was really scary and traumatizing for all of us, for real. But especially her. Ended up getting sentenced to like 50 years or something like that. He tried to escape about 4 years into his sentencing, and they added even more time. So I doubt I will ever be seeing him again. Anyways, that's been years ago, but I randomly stumbled across this sub, and it made me think of that.
I don't know what I would do.
That's crazy to have someone just be playing games with you like nothing ever happened. That shit freaks me out.
To be the people who hang out with you after you committed a murder is so fucking uncomfortable.
But it sounded like he was going with the friend. He was like, run away with me to the friend. Not a...
Yeah, that's scary.
Oh, that was her boyfriend. That was the best friend's
that's
boyfriend.
Scary, though, to be like, hey, babe, I need to know if you're the kind of girl who's going to ride or die with me. I killed somebody. You want to run away with me? Because I got to run away now or it's over. Yeah. Oh, my God.
She handled it
the
best, though, to go along with it so you're not tipping anyone over, right? But that's a very scary situation because it's just very fragile.
Yeah, and so many people say like, oh yeah, like if my man did this, I'd cover for him, But I think when you're really in that situation, you realize like you could be next, girl. So don't do that. That is scary.
Very mentally not okay.
No, especially if you can murder somebody, act like everything's normal and continue your night. With your girlfriend and her friend?
Yeah, no. Not happening. Sorry. Calling the cops. The police. Take him away. Okay, so these are some people on Reddit that have posted their most scariest story that they've experienced. So we're going to read a few of those. I used to sleepwalk when I was a child. We lived in a rough neighborhood, Decatur, Georgia. And I would wake up outside in the middle of the night, not knowing how I got there, and would have to walk home and walk in the darkened doorway I had left wide open for whoever might be lurking around.
Like subwalk outside?
Yes.
Oh
like
my
outside
God.
and would
That's
leave the door
scary.
open. Yeah.
That is scary.
However, the time that scared me the most was when I was about 9 years old. I woke up and found myself with the bedroom curtains drawn back and staring out the window. As I came awake, I noticed a very large and completely hairless man, no hair, no eyebrows, etc., staring at me and slowly inching closer to the window and closer to my face. He was looking bewildered, like he wasn't sure what he was seeing. At that moment, I realized what was going on and I started screaming uncontrollably. Frozen in place and peeing down my leg, the man freaked out and screamed, did a tumbling move, and then ran off in a wizard zigzag-like line he was trying to dodge bullets. My mom woke up and thought I probably had a nightmare. The next morning, we found a screwdriver on the front porch and damage to the door jamb and door handle. I still just about pee my pants while I tell that story, but now it is usually from laughing. I will never forget the look on his face when I started coming to life and screaming, or his high-pitched scream, or his duck and roll and dodging and bobbing all the way down the street. That is kind of freaky. Because it's like, is it a dream, or did you actually see something when you were a child and there was someone on the porch?
It seemed like something happened and she saw it. Like somebody was going to try to break into their house.
It could have been, and maybe that was like how they saw it, like in the moment, like how maybe a child would perceive this situation, maybe. Yeah, that's very creepy. All right, so this is someone else's. This is very tame compared to a lot of the stuff on here, but when I was 12, I saw this huge man drop a dollar bill. He seemed not to notice, so I ran across the street to hand it back to him. He thanked me several times, and I could see that he wasn't right in the head. I was a pretty small girl, probably only 100 pounds at the time. This guy easily had a foot on me. All of a sudden, he grabbed me by the top of my head and wouldn't let go. I am so lucky that my dad was nearby, and he pretty much just picked me up and led me away.
Like grabbed her?
Yeah, just grabbed her by the head.
Like a claw machine?
I think so, yeah. It was just like, come with me.
Ew.
Yeah, that's scary. Nuh-uh. All right, here we go. I was home alone when I was 11. I had just fallen asleep and someone tried to break in the front door. I called 911 and hid in the pantry in the bottom shelf. They came to the door next to the pantry and tried to break into that door too. The police got there and one of them picked me up and held me until my mom got there. I wouldn't let go until he made sure I felt safe. I'm 27 and haven't stayed home alone much since. The day I signed a lease for my first apartment, I got a dog so I wouldn't be alone. It's pretty traumatizing when you're that young.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's like a nightmare to have your home intruded. Oh,
Yeah. Remember the
God.
movie Home Alone? Like they made it seem so like
Yeah, like you could
theatrical.
just prank them and they
Yeah,
won't
prank.
kill you. They just
Hmm.
want to steal your money. They don't want to kill you or do anything horrible to you.
Yeah, it's a very scary
Not the truth.
situation.
Yeah, people definitely do want to get you.
Have you ever had any really scary stories? Like any events that maybe you didn't know how to explain?
um, I would say yes, but I don't know if like I'm somebody who has an issue and am seeing things or if it's really there. Like, um, there was one experience with me and my cousin. We had woken up um, early one morning after a sleepover. We're like little girls, and we both see what looks like somebody walking down her hallway, like outside of her bedroom, like walking down their hallway, like they're gonna go downstairs. And I'm just thinking it's like her dad, and she is too, and we just are about to go back to doing whatever we're doing, and then she just stops. She looks at me, and I'm like, "What's wrong with you? Like, what's wrong with you?" And she's like, "My dad's not here. Like, my dad's not here right now. He's gone.
Oh my gosh.
My mom is not, like, that didn't look like my mom either." And I was like, we should go get your sisters, I guess, in case, like, it's a problem or it's
Yeah.
an intruder or something. Which is a mistake because they freaked the fuck out and started screaming and crying because it was scary, duh.
Yeah, you're
Um,
scaring yourself, working
yeah.
yourself up.
And then, of course, like, when you say stuff like that to the parents, they're always like, "Oh, it's nothing." Like, "Oh, it's nothing." But, as we got older, of course, like, parents have revealed, yeah, we've experienced some creepy things in this house. We just didn't want to say anything because we didn't want to scare you, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But, like, that's something I've had. I've also seen something in your house, like your house growing up.
Ooh, we got some stories about that one.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like you've got more experience than I do
Well,
because you lived there, but
the one, the story that I remember the most was like my own experience, like alone, and it was at like 3 in the morning. So let me
of
set the scene
course.
for you. I had a bunk bed at the time, but it was my own room. I was about maybe 13 or 14 years old, and I had woken up at 3 a.m. and I thought my sister was in the bathroom. We had a bathroom that connected both of our rooms, and the light was on in the bathroom. Uh, so I thought she was in there because I saw a shadow on the door. And like I felt like I heard ruffling, like shuffling or something in the bathroom. Not very loud, but I saw like the shadow on the door that it looked like a person was standing there, but I couldn't see into the bathroom. So I remember yelling her name or like calling her name, and then I got no response. And then the shadow faded away, like it looked like she was walking back into her room. And I was confused why she didn't answer me, so I immediately got up, like this is as the shadow was disappearing. So I got up and I looked into the bathroom and there was no one there. And I was like, I called her name again. And then I walked right into her room and she was completely passed out on her bed, like under the covers. Like there was no time for her to have crawled back into bed and like gotten there in
Mm-mm.
time and completely passed out.
And that's weird because what I saw was in that area
Was it
in your house.
really?
Yes, that's fucking weird.
So,
I'm about to get
yes.
scared right now. I'm about to get scared right now. Yes, like you and I and your sister were hanging out in your room, and I think we're young, so we're like rolling around on the ground doing something, and I look up, and I remember this clear as day. Like both bathroom doors were open, so I could see all the way through into your sister's room, and I look up, and I'm like, is that your uncle? And you guys were like, what? And I'm like, I don't know, because it was like I saw the shape of a whole man, like standing there, like looking in, like just like they were just as curious to see me in there, or they
What?
weren't sure what they were
Wait,
seeing
was this
as
in
I
my
was. Your
room?
dad's house. No, it was technically like standing in standing in your sister's room, like at the edge of where the bathroom would have like ended, but it was
What?
technically in there. But I saw it through, and I remember being like, "Is that your uncle?" And you guys were like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? He's not like, what do you mean?" And I'm like, "I just saw him in there. Like, there's somebody. I just saw someone standing in there." But it was so instant. It
What?
was like I saw them. It was like as fast as it could take for somebody to like stand like in a doorway and then just like walk off and leave.
Right.
And then we, of course, ran around the upstairs being like, there's no way anybody could have, like, walked that fast, like, down the hallway past us and we not know it and stuff. So
that's what I'm saying. These
and you guys were
creepy.
spooked out. I remember your sister was the most spooked out because it was technically her room, but we were really little. So if you don't, like, remember, I don't blame you. But I remember that was, like, the most clearest day thing that I experienced ever in your house.
Probably since I didn't see it. It probably didn't, like, log into one of the memories.
Yeah, and I was also, like, unsure. Like, I thought it was going to be scarier, I guess. So I didn't, like, take it too seriously either. But I can't even, like, see it in my head right now. Like, how clear as day, like, a completely, like, blacked out figure that just looked like a normal person. Like, it didn't look like all strung out, nothing. It literally looked like any regular, like, person or man.
Yeah, because even when I saw my sister still laying in the bed with my story, I remember standing there for a second trying to rationalize what happened in my head, and then I got a little bit spooked because I was like, I did see what I saw. I did see that. Like, I know I saw that, and I walked back into my room, couldn't go to bed.
I would have woke her ass up and been like, we need to hang out until, like, it's time to go to school because I'm scared.
Yeah, that whole time I was like, it was like halfway talking myself into that I didn't see anything, and the other half being like, no, you saw that. You know you saw something. It was like a battle of my mind after that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really disturbing. It's really disturbing when you see something that you can't explain and you're like, great, is this real? And then that's just a whole other can of worms of like, is this more stuff I need to worry about in life now? Like, I have to worry about being haunted?
Because we used to play games in my basement in that same house of like, didn't we used to turn off the lights and like...
We would do it in your room too. We would turn off the lights and we would literally sit in your room in the dark and command anything in the house to show proof that it was there by moving stuff in your room or doing anything. Mm-hmm. So basically we would try to do like Ouija board shit without a Ouija board to try and see, because we were starting to get to the age where we were on the fence about what we believed and didn't believe, and ghosts were like one of them, or entities, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. So we would like test it.
We're testing like the ghost theory out at this point in time.
If calling anything out would do anything. Mm-hmm. And that was disturbing. That was very scary. I remember that scared me every time. Didn't we have like
some things where we thought some things moved or something like that?
Yes, and we would blame each other. We would say, "Oh, we did it," and I would always be like, "No, I promise you, I never got up."
Right, because I remember doing that in the room, and in the basement we made a joke because I had like this skeleton down in the basement, like this rubber human-sized skeleton that we named Bob, and also we have a second name, Fred?
I don't know. I remember Bob.
Okay, so I think over the years his name has been changed to Fred as well. So Bob and Fred, same person, I think. But we would make jokes about him like haunting the basement. And like, be careful, Fred's down there. He'll open the doors at night, because down in the basement, like when people had slept there, the doors would sometimes like meh.
Ew. Mm-hmm. I know we were all so scared of like that dark little like storm shelter area. Oh yeah, we had a
scary room because when we moved in, someone spray painted scary room, or it was already there, like scary room on the wall down there. But it was like a safety shelter if there was a tornado.
Yeah, and
it's still spooky.
But it's spooky, and standing in there is spooky because it's so walled in with concrete that you can't. It just feels like it's super quiet in there, and you can't like. The pressure is different because like there's no wind, nothing's going on. Like if you stand in the back corners, it's just horrifying.
It's cold and it's really dark because there's absolutely no light. And there was like a child's bed down there for the longest time. Don't you remember that?
Oh, you're gonna make
all
me
the
sick.
Way back there.
You're like, gonna make me sick.
Yeah, it was freaky. Or it was like a child's bed or like a tricycle or something. I can't remember which one, but it was like one of your typical like horror movie items to be back. And I remember
it was way bigger than we thought, because one day we finally got the guts to like
go to the
explore it. Yes. Yeah, and it like wrapped around and we were just in disbelief.
You're right. I've never been back
disbelief. There since. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it either.
Yeah, I'm not doing that anymore.
Stop. I'm gonna start thinking I'm seeing things.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Like, what's in the corner?
I'm scared.
So yeah. Well, we'll have to move on to another one of these stories. Ba, ba, da, ba, da, ba, ba. Camping incident last year. So, me and my best friend try to go camping once a year. We have been doing this since we were 13 years old. Never really truly been scared or had anything weird happen until last year in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Too close to home.
Let me pause this story. So, yeah, I used to live in the Blue Ridge Mountains for 2 to 3 months of my life. So, I'm excited to hear this one. We showed up during peak season the first night, and space was very limited. We were losing light, so we set up camp on a spot during peak season. Hold on, let me reread that. I just fumbled. We showed up during peak season the first night, and space was very limited. We were losing light, so we set up camp on a spot on the side of the mountain that was an absolute wind tunnel. Morning came, so we went into town, drank beers, and dicked around until late afternoon. By the time we got back up to the mountains to switch our camping spot, we were losing light again, but managed to find a more remote spot. We get set up with our tents, get the fire going, and start drinking again. Time goes by. It's probably 1 a.m. when we see a flashlight aimed at us. And then it starts walking our way. We don't really think much of it and assume it's likely a park ranger coming to fuss at us about something, because who else walks up on you in a remote part of the mountains at 1 a.m.? I don't know about you, but ever since I started camping, I learned it's kind of an unspoken rule that you don't walk up on someone camping that late at night unless it's an emergency. Anyways, the person gets close enough and we realize it's just some guy, probably early 50s, in a shirt and a basketball shorts, and his girl, 40s, a girl who's in her 40s who is avoiding eye contact with us. The man immediately forces a conversation about nothing, doesn't acknowledge the time or his girl. His eyes were darting all over the place while we're talking to him about some dumb shit like what model or style of lantern we had and how cool it was. He's saying weird stuff like how all of a sudden he pretends to land his flashlight on our tents and says, "Oh, that's where you guys are sleeping, huh? Cool setup." The way his eyes and flashlight are moving gives us both the feeling that he's trying to see how many of us were there and what we had on us or near us, because his eyes and flashlight kept scanning the ground around us. We were getting sized up. For what I don't know. Once this guy sees everything around us, he kind of pauses for a minute, ends the conversation, and walks off into the woods. Once his flashlight disappears, me and my friend look at each other, and without me saying anything, he looks at me and says, "We're packing our shit and getting out of here." So we did. This was the most unsettling thing I have ever had happen while camping. I think this guy was going to wait until we were asleep and come back. I just don't know for what, but I do know we were 100% getting sized up that night. Might not seem like much, but if you have ever had a moment with another human being who is sizing you up, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you feel like prey.
Yeah, trust your gut feeling. Because we just have that natural instinct where, like, something's not right, even if we can't exactly see what it is. But this situation seemed pretty obvious. Like, why would someone walk up to you that late? I would get the fuck out of there, too.
Yeah, and then just a random other stranger who's acting sketchy as hell.
Yeah.
Like, keeping their eyes down and not saying anything, and it's just weird.
Yeah, I'd be like, dude, it's 1 a.m. Leave us the fuck alone. Like, get out of here. But I would leave too. I'd be like, yeah, let's pack our shit. Remember that one time that we went camping and we packed up and we left?
Yeah, but it was like because it was about to start storming.
Yeah, it was about to storm.
And we were like, fuck that. Yeah, and I already don't like storms anyway, so I was not gonna deal with that.
Yeah, no, not in the tent. We would have been like, ah.
Yeah, and it was bad. We were driving home in it, and it was bad. So I'm glad we didn't stay. So.
Yeah, me too. We made the right call. All right, so our next story came across an incredibly creepy family a while back. You know, it's one thing if you run into one creepy person, but like a whole creepy family, you're like, I don't know what you guys do. I'm not it. Okay, I never really post anything on Reddit, mostly just reading, so please excuse me if I do or say anything that isn't common courtesy here. In around 2018 to 2019, I, 25 female at the time, was 18 to 19 years old. I was living in Nebraska, where I grew up. I lived in the largest city in Nevada, but it was still essentially surrounded by corn and wheat fields. The city was expanding, so rich folks started building huge houses with giant properties on the edge of town as things proceeded to grow. All of that being said, I had a good friend whose parents' house was one of those big ones right on the blurring line between the fields and the city. My friends and I were constantly hanging out at his place because it was fun. They had tons of property to ride 4x4s on. Ride 4x4s on? Are those four-wheelers?
I guess so.
I'm going to think that, but I might be wrong. They had a hot tub, a huge living room for us to watch sports and have reality TV, Good Lord, I'm starting to slur my words. Reality TV, binge sessions, etc. Plus, his parents were super cool and we could drink out there as long as we stayed at the house. It was tons of fun, even though I was/am quite scared of the dark. So I would just not go outside after a certain time because there was little lighting and the nearest neighbor was about a mile away. I always felt a weird energy driving to/from his place if it was late at night, but never had anything happen until one night. The drive out there was a long, winding two-way road that had thick trees on both sides. And you pass one of the city's largest cemeteries on the way. Barely any lighting, of course, besides the street lamps every once in a while and very little traffic. It's all inherently a bit creepy, and I'll admit to having sped through this section of roads many times to get through it as quickly as possible. This specific night was perfect spring weather, so I was driving with my windows down listening to music, and it was around 10 p.m. I was coming around one of those curves in the road when I had to essentially slam my brakes on. Right in front of me in the middle of the road, maybe 50 yards away, was what looked like a family. Again, picture a completely pitch black road with thick forest on both sides and only my headlights to show what's in front of me. This was a family of 3 or 4. A tall, slim woman, an average height/weight man, a child with short hair but couldn't tell the gender based on the clothing and couldn't see their face, maybe around 8 years old, and the mother was pushing a fucking stroller. Their clothes looked normal, not tattered but not nice. They also were not carrying any kind of light source, meaning before I arrived behind them in my car, they had been walking in pitch black. They were all facing away from me, walking completely silent in the middle of the street, the same direction I was heading. I had turned my music down to hear if they were speaking, had music playing, etc. They didn't. The hairs on my arms immediately stood up. I came to a stop in the road behind them, obviously, and just sat there for a moment to let them move. This is really creepy already.
That's disturbing.
Yes, this is like scary movie stuff. They seemed to be completely unaffected by me and didn't even turn their heads slightly, nor did they attempt to move out of my way. I literally thought I was going insane or that I was dreaming. It was so surreal. Before I really had time to fully process and register what I was seeing and how truly strange it was, they all, at the same time, stopped walking and very slowly turned to face my car.
Ooh. Oh my God. What do you mean they all stopped to look at you?
They're like,
after a while, they're like, oh, they're waiting. She's waiting. Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, not. This scared the absolute shit out of me. I honestly didn't even give myself enough time to look at their faces as they turned. I immediately threw my car in reverse and sent it backwards for probably a full 20 seconds before flipping a U-turn, nearly running myself off the road and booking it the other direction. The only thing I remember noticing is that the stroller looked to be completely empty. This was the part that sticks in my mind the most. I've never felt terror like that in my life. I checked my rear view mirror probably 1,000 times before getting back to a main road and never saw a glimpse of them. In fact, I never saw a glimpse of them ever again. I tried asking my friend and his family about it, only to essentially feel like I was insane because of the way they looked at me. Every time I tell this story, I get one of 3 reactions. They immediately think I'm fucking cuckoo, think I'm lying, or they have something sort of similar happen to them. I really don't care if no one believes me, honestly. It was and still is the creepiest thing to ever happen to me. I think about it all the time. It was either some weird-ass family trying to scare the shit out of someone, a distraction for an attempted robbery/assault/etc., or it was something more sinister. I'm going to tell myself for probably the rest of my life that it was the first option.
Yeah, I could see that being like a distraction to get robbed.
Yeah, if the stroller was empty, like it could, but
Yeah, because why would you? Because you're not going to like plow through a family, right? You're
yeah,
obviously going to stop and wait and maybe even get out of your car and ask them if they're okay, if they're being quiet. So I feel like that was more of like an evading an assault or attack or robbery or trying to even steal the car. So
it could have definitely been.
yeah, that's where my mind goes. But she also brought up that there was a cemetery nearby, so you could wonder like were they even like there to begin with?
Right, and if we
And
go into the realm of stuff like that existing in our
yeah,
world.
they could have been ghosts. Ooh. But I think real life is a lot more terrifying, and to think that that family was there to try and stop her so they could like get her or get her car or anything, leave her stranded out
Mhm.
there in the dark, that's severely more, that's worse. It's worse than it just being a bunch of spooky ghosts that aren't even there. It's worse when it's like actual human beings who are
Yeah,
about to prey upon you.
like a realistic threat. I guess,
Ugh.
yeah. Both sound very scary to me, just in different ways. Uh, if that was me, though, I'd probably shit my pants.
Yeah, I would have not even. I would have just turned the fuck around.
Yeah, I
I'd
hope
be
you
like,
would have had
screw
that
this,
same
or honk my
reaction.
horn to get them the fuck out of the road.
Yeah,
But if it seemed like they weren't even acknowledging the car, I don't think making noise would have done anything either. So
yeah. That's probably the creepiest story we've read tonight.
yeah, she definitely acted on impulse, which is good because it could have been bad, a lot worse.
Hmm.
Sorry,
No,
I
it's
don't know
okay.
where that came from. It could have been a lot worse than
Yeah,
how it ended up.
I don't think I've had many like creepy driving stories. Like I don't think I've ever ran into anything on the road that was creepy like that. You know, you hear some people's stories like I saw this weird animal or
The
whatever.
most recent thing for me that happened like that was we were driving home at night, and my husband, who doesn't even give any of this a second thought, he doesn't care about any of this. He thinks it's not real, like doesn't believe in ghosts, nothing. Uh, he just randomly like we're riding home, we're having a good time. I notice he's like he's got his sight on something. He's like looking at something, and I was like, "Baby, are you okay? Like, what's going on?" He was like, I think so. I think I just saw something looking at me. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I thought I saw something looking at me from up high. And I'm like, okay. I was like, I immediately got chills all over my body. And I was like,
You're like,
shut
not
up.
you.
And I was like, hush. We will not talk about this until the morning. We cannot talk about this at all. We're going home. Something in me was like, if it is something crazy out there, evil, whatever, or just some kind of creature, or I don't know, whatever it could be.
An
I was like,
owl or
let's
whatever.
not us talk about this right now and curse ourselves. So we just went right home. And every time he tried to say something about it, I'd be like, shut up. And then the next day I was like, so what did it look like? What'd you see? And he was like, I don't know. It looked like two big gold eyes looking at me from the trees. And I said, okay, maybe it was an owl. Maybe it was this. And he was like, yeah, I don't think it was anything. And I was like, but it just feels so creepy. Like it just made me so weirded out. And he was like, yeah, it kind of weirded me out too. So I'm like, oh my God. So we were feeling the same vibe.
You just gotta trust
That's
your
weird.
gut. You know it's might not be good, so you're like, let's go.
Yeah, because you know, like we have to be like viewed by animals all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Why would all of a sudden that one be freaky? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I think it's true for us to be able to sense like a menacing or like a
Yeah. Like our survival
malicious,
instincts.
yeah, like intent. You know, when you just feel like something's off, or you feel that like, ooh, I feel kind of unsafe all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's true that we can sense that.
Yeah, and I think that's just like a part of our survival.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Does seeing anything scary or reading scary stories ever make your dreams worse?
No, it never really like makes its way there. My dreams just like are whatever they are. I don't ever really get to control what it is. Rarely I do have like full ability and control to do whatever I want in a dream, but most of the time I am just there, like actually there with all my thoughts and feelings and everything. It's so weird. But no. The environment can though. Like if I saw that, I'd probably have a nightmare about it.
Okay, yeah. the more I partake in like scary stories or even scary movies, even though I'm a scary movie fan, but if I like indulge too much in that, my chronic sleep paralysis, the hallucinations can start to form like what I've like, ingested, like whatever I've been watching.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely, like, just watching Attack on Titan, I've recently gotten, like, a mini nightmare about it, but it wasn't anything bad. It was actually just pretty cool. Like, even before I saw what it looked like when the Titans, like, smashed the ground, like, right? I was, like, standing there, just, it felt like a desert, like, there's nothing, and I'm just looking up at, like, a big colossal Titan, and it's, like, telling me, like, look how beautiful the world is, and I'm like, I'm just looking at it like, there's nothing, so what's so beautiful? Yeah, like that was, that's how it's infiltrated my dreams before. And like, I think I also had like one about, just the feeling of having to escape, like traveling without having to be noticed by the enemy, which is like gonna pick you up and eat you, you know?
Right, you gotta be quiet and...
Yeah, which I hate that, like, feeling like you are in complete danger and you can't like escape from it. I hate those feelings.
Yeah.
Like zombie movie. Like I realized I don't like zombies that much because I mean I have completely accepted the fact that if that were to happen right now, that would be it. Like we're not making it out of that. Everybody thinks that all of their preparations for that and their bunkers and whatnot is going to save them from that. But the truth is, unless there was a way to like wipe all of humanity out except for the ones who weren't infected, and then also eliminate those infected bodies or animals or places, we are never going to escape the realities of a zombie apocalypse. It will kill us.
Look, I know I'd pee myself if I saw a zombie running at me, so do I think
I'd lay down.
Making it? No, not myself.
I would just lay down. Go ahead.
No, I would not let you lay down. We'd be at least trying to run away.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to... You're right. That'd be a worse way to die than, like... Yeah. I'd have to take an easy way out, though, because I would know right then and there it's over.
You'd be like, there's no chance for me. I would try, but I don't think I'd make it very far, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, it's just our instincts to want to run to safety or fight to protect ourselves. But realistically, I don't think humankind could escape something like that.
No.
Or an alien invasion that was actually, like, bad. Like, you know, like they wanted to zap us away and take our planet.
Yeah.
Like, Omni-Man. Like, that, we're screwed. If a bunch of them show up...
Yeah, no. A bunch. All we need is one.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah, just one is enough.
Yeah, that would be
terrifying. Talk about, like, the boys situation. Like,
I'd just be sitting there like, I'll join, please. Just take the rest of them. Don't kill me.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this little spooky episode. If you want to see us do more spooky stories, just comment below and tell us what you think. Even share your own spooky stories with us, either in the comments below or on our Reddit page. Go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel, our TikTok, Reddit, Instagram, and X, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
That's a yap. That's a yap.
That's a yap.
Oh, I probably fucked the microphone up.
Yeah, probably that didn't. One question before I... Oh, God. That's a yap at the end. Should we say it together? Should we say it separate? What do you guys think?
Should we say it at all?
Yeah, should we say it at all? Just go ahead and comment down below.